The following video is a discussion I had between me and my writing teacher. I found it really interesting and I would really love to share it with you. I hope you enjoy. Here's my problem with race within the writing context. I hate how, this is what I dislike about Disney. This is why I get so, not offended, but just on the defense about liking Mulan when people assume it just because I'm Asian. I know they don't mean anything by it,
right?
But it's just that I like Rapunzel because she's, and this is the bitter truth of it. She, as long as with Elsa and Anna are allowed, Rapunzel I think is the best version because the thing is she's white, she's round-eyed, doe-eyed, even better of course than round-eyed. She's doe-eyed, and she has blonde, luscious hair. She has freckles. She has a big nose, and she still looks great, And the thing is, she's allowed to be innocent. She's allowed to be naive. She's allowed to be badass. She's allowed to be sexy. She's allowed to be angry. She's allowed to be sad. She's allowed to be happy. She's allowed to be all of this. Well, Moana is not the bigger case, but like Tiana and Pocahontas and Mulan are all Jasmine's not even part of it. She has round eyes. I'm sorry, but a lot of those three characters, Tiana, Mulan, and the others, and Raya, aren't allowed to be anything other than serious and honored and driven. And to an extent, I get it because that is a lot of us. That is a lot of us. That is, we have to be because we are not white.
Right.
It's the bitter truth. And that writing is reflected right back into those characters and their worlds. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing because you gotta represent that. But I'm like, why do we have to always do that? Right. It's like, why can't we get a character who's Asian or black or both even or Latina and just get them doe-eyed, just like Rapunzel, like they're going through the wind. Right. They're going, and why do we have to make them serious? Yeah. And that's why I don't like. That's why I hold a resentment against Mulan, and I don't hate Tiana. Don't get me wrong. I love her. I didn't really move it for years. I did not want to see the film because I saw the film when it came out, but I didn't want to really look at it because I felt. I didn't want to be trapped. I didn't want to be trapped into liking a character over something that I am myself entrapped in. I want to like a character for them and who's free to be whatever they got in.
It is a good point that the more serious toned Disney films
are the ones of color.
Are the ethnic characters. I mean, even Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's a very serious tone. Who's your female lead? Esmeralda.
Atlantis.
She's a gypsy. Atlantis.
Nala.
Serious tone.
I know Nala's not one, but she counts.
Yes, she
counts.
Does count. Yep.
I find it so irritable and irritating, and I get people like, oh, well, they're trying to be representative. I get that, and that's not wrong. You're right. No, that's not wrong. I just think it's wrong that it's all of them. Yeah. And the white chicks, I'm sorry, but the white dainty chicks get to have all the fun. And what's weird is I noticed that the jokes for the ethnic ones they don't get jokes or their jokes fall flat and they're always so time dated. They're not timeless. They aren't allowed to be timeless. And I feel attacked on that. Raya's a recent break. I'm like, why does she
or the humor always has to come from the side characters.
Right. I'm just like and that's what made me so angry, not angry, but just like really in the movie theater when Anna had that moment on the boat and she got to have funny moments, she got to be silly and quirky, and I'm just like, F you Disney. Of course it's the redheaded white chick. I'm sorry.
At least with Moana they allowed Moana was funny.
Yeah, I like Moana.
She
Moana
got to be goofy. That was a very big mold break with Moana.
Right, and that's why I dislike that she's not remembered. I'm like, why? Because I feel like in a sense, I'm not saying this is the reason, but a part of me is scared. The reason is she's not white. Because the thing is because she's allowed to be just like Rapunzel and Anna and Ariel and Belle. Belle, she and her both are Belle had to work towards this. Moana was already there to look outside the box into inner characters. That's why she was able to help Maui. That's why she was able to see actually speak one-on-one to Kyle, and like it makes sense. But and you know, Rapunzel has that touch, you know, because when she was helping her to help the thugs, like she was able to look past and say, hey, as dead people. And you know, Moana is so much like that. She holds a lot of good elements, and she's so funny, and she's so well-rounded. But no one remembers her. No one does, because to them, because she's not dressed in frills, she's not. There's no magic. They only seem to only keep that for the white chicks mostly, or just side characters like in Raya, like you know, for the dragon. They only gatekeep that, and so of course we're not going to remember her. We're not going to remember that, and it's really sad because we're in a materialistic world. We're only going to remember the sparkles. So because Moana doesn't have that.
Well, we also, I mean, you also have to think
I'm not saying it's the reason, but I feel like that's
each. Oh, it's definitely
added on to it.
Yes, with each, you know, era, as humanity, we become more increasingly materialistic and increasingly consumerist, and when that happens, our attention span gets shorter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you think about the 90s, a lot of Disney films came out, but not a lot of Disney princess films. There were only a handful, and they were spaced well in that 10-year gap. So, it gave us time to sit in each Disney princess for a while. She gained a lot of fandom. Their attention was only on that Disney princess for a good 2-3 years before the next princess film came out.
Yes.
That was brilliantly done and spaced. And the ones who would kind of slip through the seams or be forgotten would be ones that were sandwiched with another movie too soon.
Yeah, like Lion King. Like Pocahontas was smashed against that. Like they had no chance. They had no chance.
Hunchback of Notre Dame was sandwiched against another film. What one came out at that time? Toy Story, I believe, is what was sandwiched with. It was Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I feel like the next fall was Toy Story. So, of course, a movie like that, all comedy, all fun, all kids, all toys, action, ooh, it's going to overshadow.
Right.
And our short attention span is going to go,
right.
You know?
And of course we're going to go, and to be fair, Pixar had better writing. Or like it was like, because it was so good when it first came out.
It was something that attaches to all people.
Yeah.
It's a general type attach.
Yeah.
Hunchback of Notre Dame is not going to attach to all people. It's going to attach to any outcasts.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of people.
Right.
But those aren't your loudest speakers and your
influencers.
Biggest influence and biggest consumers.
Right.
So, you know, that's kind of how it happens. I mean, think about just the last 5 years. No, let's go 10. Let's go 10 years. The last 10 years of Disney films, we've had a lot of Disney films in the last 10 years.
I know.
And they keep coming out with big princess films.
Yeah.
They've been big princess films.
Yeah.
You had Tangled, you've had Frozen, you've had Frozen 2, you've had Moana, you've had Raya, you've had
Now Wish. Encanto?
Encanto, that was the other one that was on my, I was like, where is it? 2012, since 2012. Brave. And I feel like there's one more that's come out just in the last 12 years.
Well, it wasn't in the last 12 years, but there's Tiana. Princess of Brown.
Yeah, I feel like that was like 2007 or something.
That was 2008, yeah.
So already
9.
we've had 7 big princess films in under 10 years.
I know.
That hasn't happened in any other era of Disney.
Right.
7 in 10 years.
Right.
That's almost 1 a year. And now let's also add on top of that.
Yeah.
Well, again, already that's another 7 films.
Yeah.
And those were not small hitters. Those were big. Toy Story 3.
Yeah. And Toy Story 4.
And Toy Story 4 have all come out within just the last 10 years.
Now, that conversation was not planned, and I am very glad I got that on recording. However, back, I did post a video discussing about Louisa, laughing how we all did want a masculine character who is feminine, and there's nothing wrong with that. But here's also the flip side. There's nothing wrong with wanting a flowery princess character too. And in human nature, it is natural, and there is nothing wrong with that. It's okay to like sparkly, ditzy, what society would deem princessy, and something we should outgrow and not, like support. And granted, yes, we should absolutely have more Louisas and Rayas and Meridas, absolutely. But again, why can't we have girls of color who are also just as princessy as Rapunzel, Cinderella, and all that? It goes both ways, and it can also intertwine. It can just be as it is. And that's the problem with the unfortunate part of Louisa, is that we did, and I am myself included, is guilty of making AMVs with Louisa. And again, because I'm a creative person, it's a little easier with Isabella than Louisa. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? We all have our strong suits. And both are extremely, equally, and individually perfectly perfect as they are as characters. There's nothing wrong with liking both of them. And I will try to be making more Louisa videos, don't worry. But also, I really want to say how much I appreciate that we finally have more of a diverse in Isabella. And now with Wish being announced, I was so happy. I was like, oh, is that an Ethiopian Persian? Please tell me. I really hope so. It's really amazing. But here's the thing. We, of course, have always had characters of diversity like Esmeralda, Atlantis, Lilo and Nani, and Pocahontas, and Mulan, and Jasmine. But we still focus on Rapunzel and, like, especially Elsa, and that's our faults. Again, like, there's nothing wrong with liking them, but we can also show love to these, and that's what will get Disney's attention. So if you want change, be the change. Anyway, I just wanted to say, when I saw Wish, I was so excited. I was so happy, and I'm like, we are getting more back towards where we were going in the 90s and early 2000s. But because everyone, was kind of slow on this, or just didn't quite catch up yet, it's just hard. Now we just got to catch ourselves and say, you know what, there is no right or wrong way. Can like everything, then respect everything, and just not lose sight of everything. Like, it's okay. Also, I find it hilarious when people stated that the girl in the Wish poster looked just like Isabella. That brought me back to when Frozen was announced, where there was those joke posters. They weren't actually legit, but people thought they were. And they said, oh my god, she's cross-eyed, or that looks just like Rapunzel. And I think it's hilarious. I think we're kind of like deja vu. Anyway, I just wanted to put that little funny tidbit in there. Like, who knows? And even if she does look like Isabella, here's an example. Once I was in a discussion with friends. I, an Asian, 2 Hispanics, and another Asian. And I was looking around, and I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, the only thing we're missing is an Eskimo, Native American, and a Polynesian. It's okay. I think it's a matter of chill. It's just animation. And obviously, we should take these things seriously, but also chill. Because, you're not always going to get everything correct, especially in filmmaking. Any film student will know this. Absolutely. And as an audience, I think it's okay to just step back and say, hey, it's okay. Calm down. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to add that tidbit to the conversation. I have something I noticed, like, it's okay to appreciate Isabella as well as Louisa, but it's also important not to let Louisa and Dolores fall into the background from Isabella and Mirabelle. We gotta be careful, me, myself included, I get it, but it's okay to call ourselves out, and it's okay to say, hey, it's just an A and B, hey!